I'm going to be presenting today on the voice of the candidate. And for those who may not be familiar with SmashFly, we provide a recruitment marketing platform that's used by talent acquisition teams to attract candidates and convert them into applicants. It's like marketing automation software, but for recruiting organizations. And it helps talent acquisition teams to not only drive more quality applicants for their jobs today, but also to build pipelines of talent for tomorrow. Today we're going to talk about how the voice of the candidate is really shaping the application process, as well as the entire candidate experience journey for that matter. At SmashFly, we believe that the candidate experience doesn't start when a candidate begins the application process. Actually, it starts from when that candidate is first attracted to the organization and its employer brand. Because to get a candidate to apply, they first need to become interested in the organization, perhaps more than interested, maybe in love. So how do you get a candidate to fall in love? Even if you don't have a job, and especially I would say if you don't have a job that's an exact fit for them today. To understand this whole world of talent attraction, it's really important for us to first recognize that the entire universe around recruiting has changed. And the change itself is being driven by candidates. Some analysts are calling it the consumerization of the candidate experience. And we believe that talent acquisition leaders that really embrace this transformation have a huge opportunity to propel their businesses forward. What's happened is that candidates have become like consumers. They have reoriented the candidate experience journey around their needs such that they're researching employers the same way that they research products and services that they want to buy. And they're expecting that the same experience that they have as a consumer is what they're going to find during their candidate experience. And I'm sure many of you are seeing this as well. Today's candidates are really well informed about who you are and what you provide as an employer long before they're ready to talk with one of your recruiters or even apply for a job. They're following you on LinkedIn and Twitter. They're reading reviews of your managers on Glassdoor and reviews of other candidates who've gone through your candidate experience on Glassdoor. And they're checking out your latest blog postings, even watching you on YouTube. And not only do they search for employers and jobs differently, candidates today have more choices than ever before. This is regardless of what industry you're in. Very consistently, every time someone here at SmashFly speaks with a talent acquisition leader, they all say the same thing, which is that they're competing for the same highly skilled talent, not just locally, but on a global basis as well. And all of these trends, we believe at SmashFly, point to one truth, which is that candidates are more in control of the candidate experience than employers. And it's really causing us to change how we think about our talent strategies. So if candidates are in control, how does that change the hiring process? First, we need to understand that the hiring process, in fact, the entire candidate experience, starts long before a candidate applies for a job. To get someone to apply, the burden of proof, so to speak, is on the employer to convince the candidate that they provide a great place to work and offer a great employment opportunity. But after a candidate applies for a job, the burden of proof shifts to the candidate to convince the employer that their skills are a great fit and that culturally they're going to make a great hire. So we need to think about this now in two distinct phases of the candidate experience. There is the pre-apply stage, and also the post-apply stage. And this requires talent acquisition teams to consider different strategies to use during each phase. During the pre-apply stage, recruitment marketing is used to find, attract, and engage talent and convert them into applicants. This is more about mass marketing your employer brand to all the candidates in your target personas. And then during the post-apply stage, recruiting is focused on managing applicants through a compliant hiring process. This is more about personalized interactions with individual applicants. As I described before, during the pre-apply stage, when the burden of proof is on the employer, all a company's recruitment marketing strategies are aimed at attracting talent and convincing them to become applicants. Yet most employers have a very job-centric view of recruitment marketing. It's one of the biggest challenges that we see when we first begin speaking with organizations. The only thing that they market is their jobs, and the only call to action that they have on their career site in particular is to apply now. The challenge with having a job-centric view of recruitment marketing is that during the pre-apply stage, not everyone is ready to apply now. And not all that matters to a candidate is a job. Our data shows that 74% of candidates who click apply drop off at some point during the application process. These are candidates who are interested in our employer brand, but now we have no idea who they are. And that means that 74% of our recruitment marketing time and resources and budget have been wasted. It's a pretty astonishing number for most talent acquisition leaders when they start looking into the drop-off rate of their apply process. It means ultimately that 26% made it into the ATS. And that's a huge missed opportunity to build relationships with talent while they're expressing interest and they're considering you as an employer, either now or in the future. We shouldn't underestimate this missed opportunity because those 74% took quite a bit of time and effort to even arrive at your employer brand. Some research that's out there shows that the decision to take their career to your organization can involve as many as 12 to 18 different touch points with your content and your employer brand before they're ready to apply or perhaps even accept an offer. And so it's no doubt that candidates are in control, but you still have influence, and that's what I'm going to speak about next. So seizing and leveraging that influence starts with providing a way for interested candidates to opt in to a relationship with your employer brand. It's a completely different call to action than one where your recruitment marketing is focused only on applicants. When you start to understand that the candidate experience journey begins from the point of attraction, it helps you to start to think now about candidates earlier in their journey, particularly when they're leads and not yet applicants. You don't need their resume, you simply need their email address. You need a way to contact them and stay engaged with them. Sometimes when we introduce the term lead, it can be really confusing because I don't think prior to SmashFly that many talent acquisition teams thought about candidates as leads. But what would you call those individuals who have not yet applied but are definitely interested and are folks that you really would like to have them become applicants at one point in the future? So that's where the term lead comes from, and it's very much borrowed from the marketing world. And once you capture their contact information in what we call a talent network form, you can start to nurture them and keep them warm and engaged to help that interest in you flourish until the time is right for you and the time is right for them. And it really shifts the talent acquisition strategy to go from sort of reactive, where I'm just filling jobs, to now I'm proactive, I'm building talent pipelines to meet the organization's hiring needs at any time. So how can you build and nurture relationships with leads during the pre-apply stage? You can do so through your career site and social channels, as well as through events and referrals. Every place that you market your jobs, as well as you market yourself as an employer, add a talent network form in order to capture that 74% that you're probably missing today. And this will give you valuable leads to fill jobs now and also in the future. For example, Eaton Corporation, which is a global power management company, they have added a talent network form in their apply flow. So at the very beginning of apply, their candidates are presented with an opt-in, simple name, first name, last name, email address, and now they've captured their contact information such that if they do drop off later on, while they're in the application process, Eaton has already captured their contact information and they can follow up with them later on. And this strategy alone is producing 1,000 new contacts a day into Eaton's talent network. And many of those candidates were not individuals that Eaton would have captured otherwise. So definitely a very strong way of building their talent pipeline. But capturing leads in your talent network is just the start. A lead is just a name, and your job in recruitment marketing is to convert that lead into an applicant. So it's super important what you do with those leads, how you nurture them and ultimately convert them, not just into applicants, but then down the road into great hires. And to nurture them, you can provide candidates with valuable content about your organization and also about your industry. And think of it not only to educate them, but also, frankly, to entertain them so that you remain top of mind as an employer of choice when they're ready to make their next career move. Another example here is a company named CH2M, which is a massive program management company, global program management company. And they created a monthly newsletter for the folks that opted into their talent network. They have, I think, a subscriber base of about 100,000 names. And they send out this monthly newsletter with content about CH2M as an employer and also about some of the very interesting work projects that their team members are working on. And it consistently generates more than 400 applications each month. So this is just one example of a recruiting organization using content marketing to drive quality applicant flow. So moving from a job-centric view of recruitment marketing to more of an employer brand-driven view of recruitment marketing, organizations can use the pre-apply stage as a way to attract and nurture leads to get more quality candidates to become applicants. So let's look now at what happens post-apply. For many candidates, this is what the candidate experience feels like after they've submitted their application. The perception is that today's process offers little in the way in helping candidates to tell their story with their resume, most likely being sucked into the black hole of the application process. And I know that this is not the experience that talent acquisition leaders want to create for their candidates. So what can we do about it? Well, candidates are craving other ways to tell their story and to demonstrate their skills and also to interact with prospective employers. While the resume is definitely still important, the voice of the candidate can also come through social media as well as digital interviews. Candidates want to feel like they're being provided a fair opportunity to demonstrate themselves as a person, not just as a resume. And of course, we know that this additional insight about the candidate can be extremely valuable to recruiters who are evaluating all of these applicants, as well as to hiring managers, of course, who are evaluating the applicants. One other thing to consider about the post-apply stage is that candidates also expect immediacy and transparency. So if they take action, such as submitting an application, they expect to hear from the employer that the employer received their application. And if they interview, they want feedback, and they want to know, most importantly, the next steps. They understand that it might be bad news, but it's failing to communicate in any manner that I think most candidates would say is even worse than hearing that they didn't get the job. Last but not least, candidates expect to move fast through the hiring process, however many steps there are. So it's really critical that we're transparent about what the process is and generally how long it takes. Let's face it, there's huge competition for skilled talent. Many would say it's at an all-time high. And so the speed at which we're able to give the candidate a voice, evaluate them, and then make them an offer has a huge impact on meeting our hiring goals, and also a huge impact on providing a positive candidate experience. Finally, if we align our talent acquisition strategy according to the two distinct phases of the candidate experience, pre-apply and post-apply, we also need to align how we track and measure our success. So, from our brand and how employees and candidates perceive it, to the sources that best influence a candidate's decision to opt into our talent network and even apply to a job, to the career site content and email campaigns that we use to engage candidates and drive application flow, to the metrics on how we evaluate candidates and ultimately how we convert quality candidates that we make offers to into great hires. This all affects our high-level metrics of cost and time to fill, and ultimately will drive better bottom line performance of our talent acquisition team. Because in the end, let's not make any of our stakeholders, either us as an employer or especially our candidates, feel like Ben Carson did during the Republican primaries. So let's build a strategy that better attracts and nurtures candidate relationships and provides a way for candidates to feel like their voice, their time, and their effort was respected. Thanks so much. It was great being a part of it.